Hello and welcome to True North EV. I got a little different of a podcast today. I'm actually courtesy of Vickar Chevrolet, Community Chevrolet and Jay Degagne. I have a 2019 Chevy Bolt in kinetic blue. It's the model is an LT. Seems pretty loaded. I'm not totally sure if this is fully loaded. But yeah, I've done about 50 kilometers with it. I've done some in the city, some on the highway. It's actually a great little vehicle. I hear a lot of complaints about the seats being narrow. I find maybe on a longer trip they might be a little harsher. But for what I've done, it actually fits my body quite nicely. I quite enjoy that. The little weird thing when I got in initially, and the guys over at Vickar were fantastic. They realized, I've talked to them, I told them what I wanted to do, and so they actually didn't heat up the vehicle at all. They just gave me the keys. It was probably 3/4 charged, and so that I can actually see the heat. And it actually heats fantastically. After about a block and a half, I had to turn the heat off. I had the heated seat going, the heated steering wheel, and I was set. But the heated seats are a little weird. I was, with it being Chevrolet and trying to accommodate their normal customers type deal, the normal gas vehicle owners, it's kind of weird that there's so much stuff being controlled on the screen. Although I also haven't been in a newer Chevy vehicle, so maybe they're all slowly moving over this way. But I got in and I went to go turn on the heated seats, and I was curious where the button is, because even on my Kona I have a button for the heated seats. This is actually all on the dash, or all on the display screen. It's a massive screen, which is fantastic, except the only thing I don't like about this screen is it sits kind of below the dash. I'd like it up a little higher. Just makes it easier. I find when I'm looking at the screen, I have to look to my right and drop my eyesight, where I know with my Kona, it's basically just kind of glance to the right, and it's basically right there, the screen. But fantastic screen. Lots of different controls you can set when you want to charge. You could set your limits. It's lots of control. You could target charge rate. Oh, you actually set your charge rate based on kilometers and not your percentage, which is different. But what else? It actually has a ton of info on this screen. But yeah, it's got half your temperature controls are on the screen. The other half is your normal dials. So it is almost like they're confused and trying to slowly work their way to be fully on the screen, but yeah, it's a work in progress. The tires on this Bolt I want for my Kona. The roads are they're wet, but I know with my Kona, if I put it right to the floor of the accelerator, the tires will start slipping. With this Bolt, I got no tire slippage whatsoever. It just grips and goes. I don't know if that has to do with their torque control versus Hyundai's torque control, but I was thoroughly impressed with the tires on this. But it is a very comfortable vehicle. It's a very interesting setup. I have very mixed feelings about it. There's no little center console type deal that comes down. On the Kona, I'm resting my knee up against the center console, where on the Bolt it's actually wide open, and so my knee, it doesn't have a place to rest per se, but it's also kind of nice because I don't have that hard plastic that my knee's resting up against. It seems to still have a lot of the hard plastic stuff, but yeah, I am just, yeah, I was going into this drive partially thinking that it's not that great of a vehicle. It's a great little city vehicle, but after I've had it for about an hour and a half now, and it has actually changed my mind quite a bit. I don't know if it would work for my family, just because it is quite a bit narrower than my Kona, or at least the interior is quite a bit narrower. So to have all three kids in the back, I think somebody would die on a longer road trip. But for, let's say, even a family of 4, I think this is a fairly doable vehicle. It's a great car. It's a little weird having the charger on the driver's side. Maybe it's just because I'm used to my Kona, but I actually took it home to charge, to try to see what kind of charger it had. Like, I know my Kona charges like 7.7 kilowatts, where I was trying to see what this Bolt does, but it actually doesn't display any of that info. So that was kind of interesting, but I've never had to pull my cord for my charger out so much, which I don't know if I would like, as I don't park in a garage or anything. I do park just outside. I don't know if I would like that as much, for the simple fact it is quite a bit more obvious that there's a big cord there. I know here in Manitoba we have had lots of wire thefts and all that. They steal it for the copper and all that. So I don't know if that would pose any more of a risk to that. I know of other guys in our Manitoba Electric Vehicle Association group that has a Bolt that they do charge it outside and have never had an issue, as far as they've told us. So I don't know. There's always that potential, even with mine. But yeah. So, but yeah, I'm thoroughly impressed. Although, so it's got Android Auto, but when I push the normal, it looks like a face with a little talking deal. I know on my Kona, I push that, and that allows essentially Google to listen to whatever commands. With this, maybe I just haven't set it up properly or whatnot. It doesn't go to the Google, or essentially the Google screen, for it to be listening to whatever commands you want. I don't know if that's my setup problem or what it is, but it does have battery conditioning. Actually, I could tell you. So I've traveled 42 kilometers. I've used 17.6 kilowatt hours. Apparently my climate settings eats up a lot of the distance, yet I don't even have it on most of the time. So it's I do like their display here. It has a screen called Range Impact since last full charge. Although, I guess, I don't know who else has driven this vehicle. This is actually a loaner vehicle of theirs. So when you actually get your Chevy Bolt worked on, they'll actually give you another electric vehicle. instead of getting a gas vehicle, which I think is perfect. Like, that's the way it really should be. So I'm not sure who's driven this, who's had the climate settings where, but it actually has, like, so it's got technique, terrain, climate settings, outside temperature, which I guess if you're just coming into an electric vehicle, it's great that they display all that, because then it's showing you what's actually impacting your range, right? Because with here in kind of winter time, it is showing the outside temperature is having a fairly significant impact on it. So yeah, it's great that they're showing it. Then you at least know, right? But yeah. So I think I'm gonna leave that this for right now. It's just a little tidbit here. And we will continue this episode later. I'm just gonna go return this, and yeah. Oh, actually, the one thing that I was thinking of, the regen braking on the Bolt is way better than the Kona. It actually will bring you to a complete stop, and it seems to actually bring me to a complete stop way before I would expect to. Like with my Kona, I drive kind of like how I would drive my Kona, which then I was finding I was probably almost 3 car lengths back from where I wanted to be. I don't even have to use there is an extra little brake assist paddle behind the steering wheel. I don't even have to touch that. It will actually bring me to a complete stop, where I find with the Kona, it's usually about 4 kilometers. Then I kind of am grabbing the paddle and kind of coming to that complete stop, but still not touching the brake pedals. But yeah, so as far as the regen braking goes, I almost like this better than the Kona. So yeah, I'm gonna leave this thoughts there for now. Again, this was courtesy of Vickar Community Chevrolet here in Winnipeg. And the salesperson that I'm dealing with for this is Jay Degagne. So if you're looking at even a regular gas Chevrolet, I'd say give them a call. All right, awesome. We'll talk to you guys later. Bye. Okay, so I have dropped off the Chevy Bolt back at Vickar Chevrolet with Jay. And there was a couple of other little tidbits he shared with me. So the difference between the 2019 Chevy Bolt and the 2020 Bolt, so I was driving the 2019, which had a 60 kilowatt battery pack, and the new 2020s have a 66 kilowatt battery pack. So that's going to be even better for longer road trips, especially with the Bolt having 4, I guess what people in the electric group call it, the guessometer. So it's kind of your range. On the Bolt, it actually has a minimum range and a maximum range, which I quite like, because it's, you at least know, even if I drive really stupid, it's gonna at least get me. I believe when I got into the vehicle initially, the minimum was 188 kilometers, and it's like, at least you know you'll for sure get to that 188 kilometers. Where on my Kona, it's basically, this is a number, like, call it 330 kilometers, it'll go, right? But then it depends how you drive and whatever. So that might only be 200 kilometers, right? So it's nice that you can at least see that range. You know you're for sure going to hit this mark. You can look to see what chargers you got between, call it 188 kilometers to 250 kilometers type deal, right? You can see, and then you could figure out how you want to drive according to that. The other thing that me and Jay looked at was the difference in like size, I guess more so interior room, with between the Bolt and the Kona. And we found that it's almost a 1 to 1.5 inch bubble, essentially, in the vehicle. So the Kona is 1 to 1.5 inches bigger in most respects to the Bolt, which it doesn't sound like a whole lot until you actually are in it. And it's like, that's actually, it seems like quite a bit more room. Because that 1 inch bubble, essentially, it almost is that comfort level for my kids in the back seat with a car seat, right? So I go with, but I would 100% recommend the Bolt to somebody that maybe family of essentially of 4, or looking for a second vehicle that might not always need that extra room for that 3 people in the back, but because it was a fantastic vehicle. Yeah, and the color was right for my wife. It was a nice blue, the kinetic blue, I believe I already said. And when you first get into the vehicle, it has, although I think it might only be when it was plugged in, because I did plug it in to see, but it had like the prettiest display that goes from the instrument cluster display to the massive center screen display, and it was like a little light show almost. It was, I must say, it was pretty gorgeous, really. Like they, at least, like Chevy took the time to actually think of even almost silly stuff like that, right? Like stuff that doesn't really matter. Does it matter if it's just a black screen? Does it matter if there's this little color show going on? Not really, but it's those little things then that make a difference, that make that experience that much more pleasant, right? So yeah, if you're, and especially right now, there's the 2019s out there. Like, I think I said at the dealership, I believe there was 5 or 6 of them. So there's at least the inventory there. You're not waiting. Like the Kona was, I think, a 6-month wait still, 6 months to a year. So you can at least get a Chevy Bolt right away, especially if you need it for like a company vehicle where you're hauling stuff around. It's got the range. It's got massive amounts of space. Like their trunk area on the Bolt was way bigger than the Kona, especially. The Kona's back seat seemed to be angled a lot more, so it goes into the trunk space. Like the bottom, the floor part of the trunk seems to have quite a bit of room, but then once you start going up, that room narrows, especially with the hatch and all that. So the Bolt definitely has way more trunk space. So, but definitely recommend Vickar Chevrolet if you're here in Manitoba. And yeah, I think that's gonna be it. The Bolt definitely surpassed all of the things I thought I wasn't gonna like about it. It actually wasn't that big of a deal, really. So yeah, I would definitely recommend that you go take a look at one. Especially with there being tons of Chevy dealerships out there, and they all seem to be pretty okay with EV going that way type deal. Yeah, there's the Chevy Bolt out there if you're looking for a plug-in hybrid. I guess no new ones. There might be some still left at dealership, but it's going to be used ones right now. But again, great range on those, and you have tons of dealers out there that can work on it. Yeah, pleasantly surprised by it. And I guess with that, we'll call this episode, and you guys have yourself a great week. I'm definitely going to try to do more episodes like this where we take these vehicles out, just because I haven't actually, other than Teslas and my Hyundai, I haven't really driven very many other electrics for an extended period like this. Like Vickar they were kind enough to give me 2 hours with the Kona, or with the Bolt, sorry. And so I actually got to experience the city, the highway with it. And so I'm going to attempt to do that more with some of the other ones also, the Nissan Leaf. I've noticed a couple of Kia Niro EVs here, so maybe try to get one of those. And yeah, so any questions, comments, you can shoot me an email at truenorthev@gmail.com, and look me up on Facebook at True North EV Podcast. And yeah, you guys have yourself a great week, and I guess we'll talk to you in a couple of weeks. Bye.